It is the annual for Big Green Down, and we're sitting down for the Power Plant podcast. What do you think about that? Power Plant podcast, does that resonate with you? Well, I have two amazing guests here today. Would you mind introducing yourselves and your organization?
My name is Elinor Crescenzi, and I'm here with my partner in all things green and beautiful, Elinor, and we are two members of the Integrative Development Initiative, which is a worker self-directed nonprofit that centers food systems and community care.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. So you had said that you're not a big talker.
That's me.
I'm gonna attack her first.
Oh no.
So I gotta know, give me a little moonshot of your organization. Like, what's your guys' focus? What's your mission? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier today.
No pressure.
Something I've been thinking about, and I think what's really powerful and amazing about our org is how many things that we're just weaving together into something that just is, to me, very meaningful, because it's drawing on all these different threads that just create something, I think, that you couldn't create if you're just hyper focused on one piece.
Okay.
And so we, well, like Elinor said, we're into food, we're into growing food, we're into composting, super into composting, do a lot of composting. We're into, knowledge sharing around how traditionally cultivated and prepared foods really support human health, and how industrial capitalism has undermined that, and trying to increase access to some of the foods like that in our community.
Okay.
And also paying attention to how we're relating to each other. And while doing that, how do we create healthy relationships while we're doing this work? And
So y'all are here, right? You're in Colorado. You're my peeps. Where are you guys located? Are you guys down South Colorado, or are you here in Denver?
We're here in Colorado today. But we are working in Pomona, which is in East LA County.
Okay.
California.
Yeah, in California.
Cali. Pomona, Cali. Tell me about that. Tell me about your community that you serve.
Pomona is definitely a vibrant place with a lot of complexity in its history, both in terms of resilience and in terms of, maybe some shady things that have happened there. So Pomona's way on the edge of the county. It was actually supposed to be in a different county, but powerful economic interests at the time the counties were forming didn't want Pomona to be out of the county, because the Fox Theater was there, and it was really related to a lot of economic development and other things that were happening at that time, almost a century ago. But as waves of gentrification have come through LA, people have been pushed out to the east, and a lot of people are in cycles of kind of poverty were pushed into the community where we are now, including a lot of problematic policies like redlining and not enough oversight and political corruption that allowed to super concentration of waste and recycling facilities in the city. So one of the most dense populations of those kinds of facilities, but it's in a community that has a history of farming, that good food has always been central, that there has been stewardship of land. And so I like to think that our work is part of this story of transformation, where you have the whole buildup of the story, where you kind of see the resilience and you see the challenges, and we're in the mix of turning the tide. And there's been really beautiful things happening in Pomona over the last 8 years or so, where the people have overturned the corruption on a political level, started moving things in different directions, and there's been things happening also at the state level and the local level that we've been a part of that are big changes. So we see now the city just revised its zoning code after 70 years of no revisions, and this new planning department actually reached out to the community a lot. They spoke with the urban farmers in the community and they said, how do we integrate urban agriculture into the zoning code? And they actually like sat down with me 3-4 times,
Wow.
took my revisions, took my re-revisions. And now our code like actually provides for urban agriculture all across the city. Anywhere in the city, you're allowed to grow food. And there's a lot of provisions that actually work for small scale farmers.
Wow. So I gotta know, like, what is your mission and vision for like this year coming up?
Ooh, this year we got big plans on it. I feel we have been going from like small to like very high capacity,
It
knocking
sounds
things out.
like unstoppable growth is going on over in your organization. You know what I mean?
And we're dreaming big. So one of our initiatives that we hadn't been giving as much time to, which is called our Commons Restoration Initiative, which centered affordable housing, neighborhood food production, and cooperative living, rooted on top of a community land trust model. We were like, we've been talking about this, we've been meeting, and we said for this year, we've been saying, like, we started saying probably mid-year, you know what? 2024 is the year of the land trust. And we just started like giving a little bit of energy. The universe was giving us nudges out of some spots. And, you know, knock on wood, escrow is supposed to close on a property in 4 days. We'll be becoming stewards of 40 acres of land, turning into an educational center and support community, intentional living, tiny homes, urban farming, composting, hopefully working with the local native peoples, building space for ceremony, stewarding the water that comes through there,
Wow.
like integrative. So like our nonprofit's called Integrative Development Initiatives, and that's like what we think about. Is like there's all these threads. Let's weave them together.
Ooh, sounds like the crossroads are getting ready to happen here shortly. That's
And
amazing.
That's just one project.
That's wow. Well, tell us, like, this is your platform to talk to the world about like what you're doing, your vision for this upcoming year, different projects. Because I can tell you right now, there's probably going to be some listeners out there that can either relate or take notes. Like, how did you like get involved with the governmental side of things? Because you were pushing policy that was passed. Like, how difficult was that? And then, like, again, like, how did you create that partnership where you were able to get 40 acres, you know, the possibility of this 40 acres that you're going to flip into something amazing? Like, how'd you create those partnerships and connections?
Oh my God, I feel like you asked at least 3 really good questions. I want to try to come back to them, each of them. So one question that you asked was, how do we build those good relationships with the government? And how I think it happened was myself and another urban farmer, we started going to city council meeting during open public comment every week. We went every week for 2 years, and we just made public comment. And we just kept urban farming. My friend every time commented on urban farming. And I commented on environmental justice, food justice, discriminatory practice, like just lots of different things. We came together. We stayed for the whole meeting, even though we only commented at the beginning. So we would be there until like
11
midnight,
o'clock, 12, yeah.
You know, we accompanied people in like the business of the city. And at the end of those 2 years, he actually was visiting a friend delivering tomatoes. They lived next door to an empty city lot. And he was like, let's ask for it. And at the same time, I'd been organizing with an environmental justice activist group nearby, and they were wanting to build a farm. So we kind of merged those two like sets of efforts. That environmental justice group had actually gotten an enforcement initiative from the state of California in the city. So we got to meet all the regulators from the Cal EPA. And one of them, the environmental justice officer, passed us this environmental justice grant and was like, you should apply for this. And so, I don't know, 3 weeks before the deadline, I was like,
That's usually how it goes.
y'all want to do this? And they were like, yeah. 2 weeks before the deadline, no meeting, nothing done. 2 days before the deadline, nothing done. I was like, y'all want to do this? They were like, yeah. So I wrote. We got something on the table. It kind of centered a model that is now something that we name one of our initiatives. We call it the Eco Farm Initiative. That's an acronym for us that stands for Ecological and Community-Oriented Farming and Resource Mobilization. So
that's a hell of an acronym.
that packs a lot. Well, that proposal won a $50,000 grant. We came with that money and we said, give us the land. We got the money to build this project. The city did agree to lease us that land for nothing to build out the project. And the environmental justice officer, Maria Salinas at Cal Recycle, she was really inspired by that proposal. And she started advocating on the state level to fund programs like what we had proposed in the Eco Farm. That eventually became the Community Composting for Green Spaces program, which was released by Cal Recycle. The inaugural funding, $1.35 million for building out community composting sites in the context of green spaces in underserved communities across the state.
Wow.
Check this out. We applied as one of 3 organizations to steward that fund. There was 3 applications. Ours was by far and away the front runner. We carried out that project. 117 new community composting sites across the state. We stewarded about a quarter of those in the Inland Empire as a regional coordinator. About 10% of the sites were in the city that we live. Our team helped to do about 50% of the diversion, and we showed that small-scale composting sites can compost at the same efficiency as industrial composting in terms of how much it costs and in terms of how much land is used. But we do it without any of the externalized harms and with like 16 or 18 community benefits, soil improvements, improving groundwater retention, local food production, community green space, opportunities to be active outside, engaged with your community, all these public and mental health benefits, not to mention reduced emissions, water impacts, soil impacts. Something I like to say is people think community composting is cute, but they don't think it could do the numbers.
Yeah.
But when you look at the numbers, they are impressive. And for us, we just ran these numbers in the hallway outside because we were like, we want to share these. Last year in 2023, we composted 500,000 pounds of food scraps across our small network, rooted out of the Pomona Valley, and a total of just over 750,000 total organics. What does that mean? That's over 200 metric tons carbon dioxide equivalent. What does that mean? It means the same as 46 cars taken off the road in terms of emissions reductions. What does that mean? It means the same amount of carbon sequestration impact as planting 3,450 trees over the first 10 years of those trees' lives.
And this is in a time period of a year's time?
1 year.
That's wild.
That would be like planting 10 trees a day.
Dang.
Or almost 300 trees a month.
Yeah, that brings up something for me, and this is in regards to just soil. We've been poisoning our topsoil for quite a long time, especially here in Colorado, I want to say, and maybe it's something that's national, I'm sure, if it's happening in the Great Plains. But we have about maybe 49 cycles of growing if we continue to use the practices that we're doing, right? And that's a great way of soil restoration and putting bacteria back into microbes and all the good juices that were coming out of the buffalo that made our Great Plains. But that is such a great concept, and you're implementing it right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We're going to have to come back and touch on this again. Okay. No doubt about that. But as we transition, I got to know, what's your garden sign going to say?
Our garden sign?
I'm going to start you off. Yeah.
What does our sign say in our garden?
Yeah. And that goes to both of you. If you had a garden sign out there in your garden, what would it say?
The first thing that came to my mind is like, life is beautiful.
Okay. I like that. All right. Hey, we got time. We got time. Well, I want you to think about that. And while you do, maybe you can inform us, how do we get in contact with you out in Pomona, California? How do we follow you? How do we contact you? Can we donate? What does that look like?
For sure.
You could check out our website.
Yeah.
Our URL is www.gettoknowidi. That's
.org.
.org. That's GETTOKNOWIDI.org.
Okay.
There's also a donation button on our website that you could hit up if you want to send some resources our way. We definitely could use resources.
What if I'm out in Cali and I want to stop by?
Ooh, we are mobile in the community. We have a bunch of different sites. We love to bring people around. We partner in a lot of different gardens. So we don't actually own any land right now. So on Sundays, we usually do a community composting open workshop. Right now, those are hosted at the Center Street Garden. And that would be a place where you could come out and see us in person. But we also steward land in Rancho Cucamonga at the Route 66 Community Garden. We have a food forest out there as well as an incubator farm. We have a little bit of a pretty strong partnership at the Tzu Chi Buddhist Foundation in San Dimas. We compost there every Friday morning. And that's about it. We're in the process of establishing another garden site, and it's going to be beautiful. You just give it a couple months, and we'll have another spot to meet you.
You got that garden sign? Yeah.
Oof.
You got that garden sign in mind?
I don't know about the garden signs. I think for me, you kind of asked how we got connected on the partners, and it really came through nonviolence. So our team has been canceled a lot because we wanted to practice nonviolence, and we wanted open communication. We wanted people to be in full choice. We would say no when people would try to power over us, and at the same time, we weren't really willing to go into like a power over way of being. We actually got a friend to volunteer to give our team nonviolent coaching calls. And that's how we got connected to the land. Was another team had the same person that they also use for nonviolent communication coaching calls. And she was listening to like the other person and me, and at a certain point she was like, you ladies need to talk. And so she put us together, and that went fast. And so there's so many beautiful things, like really looking at Earth as home, or, you know, getting Gandhi's like message on the table of, you know, be the change you wish to see in the world. That resonate with me. But I don't know the like words on the sign yet, but something that's been really important to me in the development of our organization is really creating a culture of care. And so it's something along the lines of like
creating culture of care.
Like here we practice cultivating cultures of care and just inviting people into that practice. A lot of times we spend a lot of time talking about what we don't want, and we don't start building what we do want. And we consider ourselves to be...
I'm sorry, can you rewind that? Can you say that again? Because I don't think they heard it in the back, because that was very powerful.
I mean, I think in activism especially, we're so frustrated by what we want to block and what we want to stop and what we want to say no to. And that's where the people bring out like the F-bombs of this and that. That's like really their way of saying no. And we need to be able to say no. But we also got to know what we want to say yes to. And if we don't have the things on deck that we want to say yes to, if we're not building them, if we are not practicing them, then when our no's are successful in stopping something we don't want, we have a vacuum that just gets us another thing to say no to. And we need to be able to say no to this and this instead. And that's what I see in the cultures of our organizations, because it's not only the ecology that we got to care for, the environment, our relationships to the earth, but it's our relationships to each other. And if we look at ecological destruction, if we look at food injustice, the root cause of this, social systems, capitalism, the fact that we want to overpower each other, get ahead, that we don't want to practice care in community with each other. Those are the things that drive that kind of destruction, that drive exploitation. And so we need to practice in our collectives and in our work the responsible care for each other and for the people outside of our organizations, even the people who may be our quote unquote enemies. We need to see them as full human beings. We need to understand they're doing what they're doing because of a need. They might be feeling scarcity. They might have been neglected as children. They might be trained by our culture to be a certain way, but deep down they are humans. And if we provide them with an orientation that centers respect and care and healing their traumas that are causing them not to be able to see the needs of others, at the same time we do that for each other, that's the new system. That's the new culture that will never get us what we have now.
That's fresh. That's fresh and deep. Man, well, we got to wrap this up real quick. Man, first off, yeah, we could do this all day. I'm down. But we got to sharpen it up. Guys, please. This is Staff Sergeant Mack.
Elioboski.
Elinor Crescenzi.
Man, let this not be the last time we have this conversation. There's a deep dive that we need to get into, especially there is I want to say there's about 30 different things that we can span off of just with this conversation, whether it be what can you do at the government level, local level, what can you do yourself, empowering yourself through emotional that emotional development and connection to folks that you may be on opposite sides of the fence, but at the end of the day, we're all human. I love that message, man. Y'all are doing it. Y'all are doing it, man. I appreciate you guys coming out and sharing a little of what you got going out in Pomona, Cali. And that org again, your organization?
Integrative Development Initiative.
Check us out. This is the Power Plan. I'll see you next time.